I should have drained this to the... Oh my gosh, that's got a lot of water pressure in it. She look good going down the river or what?
Yeah, trash can. Why don't I add to that a little bit? What the?
This is gonna be part 2 to the free 1982 Glasstream angler bass boat that I picked up. If you haven't seen part 1, I'll plug a link to it up in the corner or down in the description. Some of the key items we gotta fix are the shifter. We gotta hook up the trim switch, the bilge pump, and just a couple other things that we gotta give her a once over. So let's dive in. This is the shifter cable here, and I was already messing with it, but when I put her in forward, basically what was happening is this lower rod, the shifting rod goes, you know, this one goes up and down, and so it pushes this lower rod up and down, and it was pretty stiff because I detached it right here from this pin. So I've adjusted it to where it just about goes in. Yeah, see there, because it went into gear that time. So that's still really stiff. I sprayed a bunch of lube down there though, worked it back and forth, and I also adjusted this cable to help it out. So I think we're gonna be okay on that. But this vertical rod, you know, I greased all these points and took them off, and I also greased the distributor. So this rotates more freely now as well. Should probably grease the steering as well when I got this out. This don't sound good. After pressure washing it, you hear that noise? It sounds like either electrical noise or maybe crankcase pressure pushing up past the seal or something. Guys, that noise goes away when I disconnect the battery, so it's some kind of electrical noise under here. I probably fried the darn stator because I just cranked it too, and it's got no spark anymore. I'll pop this flywheel off. Oh, that's not good. I had these all bottomed out, and it just yanked all the threads out of that one hole. There it goes. Alrighty. This guy still got the belt on. I can't really mark that thing because when you pull it off, you're definitely gonna lose your position, so you just have to retime it and you put this back on. Oh yeah, this thing definitely needs a stator. This could be why it shut off the other day, because this is hot to the touch and it was just smoking a second ago. You could see that burn spot on there. This belt's also really dry rotted and got a crack on it too. It's kind of ridiculous you got to pull the stator out just to replace the belt on this darn thing, because it has this block right here. So hour later, I think I got this thing figured out. I've not had spark since I pressure washed it, and yes, the stator is burned out for sure. It needs a new stator, but it's only a 2-wire stator, and so that leads me to believe it's just for charging. It goes into the regulator rectifier right here on these 2 AC posts, and then charges through the positive side. So I'm like, all right, well, normally when I would apply power to the blue wire on the ignition, I would hear a click, but I wasn't getting anything and I got no spark. Then I'm going over here, and it turns out the neutral safety switch had a loose wire on it, so I just tightened that down, and now I get the click. So let me see if this starts. Oh, and for timing the distributor, you have to set it at top dead center, lined up to this mark here, and then see it's got that little curve on the distributor. So super easy to do that. Okay, it runs again. All right, so it does not need the stator for spark. That goes in. Oh, yeah, that'll work. Let's see how easy it is to slap this water pump impeller in. Based on the recommendation from the Chryslers, or the best outboard engines ever Facebook group, I think that's what the name was. They were like, definitely throw a pump impeller in there. It's probably chewed up. So we'll see how that looks. To take it off, looks like just pull this pin, and then you got 1, 2, 3 bolts on each side, and probably one tucked under here, I bet. Smart guy would have read the manual before doing this, but I kind of like just tearing the things. Yep, one more under there. Ooh, this comes right out of there. My gut is that the pump's gonna look okay, but for all I know, it could be the original from 1982. Ooh, something came out of there. Key just popped out. Yeah, pump looks fine. I guess better safe than sorry, but as you can see, that pump doesn't look bad at all. And I dry started this thing a bunch of times too. So that goes to show you that it's not that big of a deal. I got gear oil coming out of here too. What's up with that? Wow, this impeller is tight. I should have thrown some lube on it, but I got enough lube on my hands now. I'm trying to face all the blades the way they were when it came out. All right, pump is in. Now the shifting problem, yeah, this is definitely this lower mechanism because I can't pull up and down this very easy at all. So it's got something, oh, there it goes. It's got something going on down there though. Then when I slip into coupling up top, there it goes. All right, I think it's time. Let's see what a good pressure washing will do for this. Yeah, she looks about the same. But, I mean, soap would clearly help. However, this floor is done for anyway, so I think I'll just put a piece of plywood over top of this and we'll call that good to go. Just cut some strips of cardboard, taped them all together to get the rough pattern. This is all the plywood I have, but like new, nice and sturdy. Yeah, this weather's crazy today. 1 second sunny, then raining, now windy. Anyway, I'm gonna take this thing out for a little spin. Now, I don't have a stator, so I did bring a spare battery, a jump pack, and another spare battery up there for the trolling motor. Ooh, sloppy. That's what I love about crummy weather. No one else here. I hit a big pothole when I was going down the road and this engine support snapped off and started dragging on the ground. But luckily it still has the lockout up here. I don't really like driving it like that though, because then you see the engine tugging on the transom a bunch. It's nice when it, you know, so it goes down and sits right there. This is what low tide looks like at the ramp. We just pulled in StarCraft. This is Tyler's boat over there. What up, Tyler? What's up? Look at the sun lighting up these trees back here. Beautiful. Yeah, buddy. The Chrysler 100. She flowing water? Oh yeah. It's running real sluggish today compared to the other day. Maybe the timing's off a little bit. I'm gonna try rotating this distributor back 1 tooth since I had it off. Just loosen these 2 bolts, pull the belt. So we'll go 1, Now if I rotate this back to top dead center, it looks good. When this is at TDC, that's not perfectly aligned now. Let's see what it does. Way better. Oh yeah, much better.
Pretty powerful, that little ass propeller.
Yeah, it's not bad, yeah.
That's pretty sweet.
I mean, I'm pulling you sideways too.
Yeah.
Yeah, the dirty Delaware.
Dirty Delaware.
The first video received a good amount of attention from me not checking the transom and rebuilding the transom before taking this old waterlogged boat out. What I didn't show is my unofficial method for checking the back of the boat if it can handle this big old tower of power is you take and you put all your weight on the end of it and you rock it and then you pull it up and you do the same thing. Here's the second test. You get up and you get bouncing on it like this, and if it don't rip off, you're definitely good to go. Sadly, when I had the boat out yesterday, I wasn't able to capture this gem of a clip, but it went something like this. I went to sit down on the seat and grab the old wheel, and then when I grabbed it, it ripped off, and I got a big old bruise on my back now. Whoever says you can't get parts for these old Chryslers, they don't know what they're talking about. Look at this, I got an old stock OEM Chrysler Stator for 30 bucks. Unreal. I wouldn't be surprised if this thing's bad right out of the box, but let's find out. Ooh, look at this. That's nice. And the insulation's good on the coils. They still make timing belts for these too. It's made in USA by Gates. Let's see how much light this thing had in it. Oh, yeah, it ripped right apart. This top crankshaft seal is a notorious two-stroke killer on any two-stroke engine. If it goes bad and sucks unmetered air in, it'll cause the top cylinder to run lean and then wipe out the piston. It'll melt the piston right into the rings and destroy it. So always make sure if you have that magneto off or something, check that top seal that it looks pretty good. This one looks nice. The whole stiff shifting thing hasn't gotten any better, so I'm gonna tear into the lower end, I think. Oh boy, I should have drained this to the, oh my gosh, that's got a lot of water pressure in it. Well, that would explain the poor shifting. It's probably all corroded and rusted bearings on the bottom and everything. Look at all that water coming out. Well, I think it's safe to say the lower end's pretty sealed tight because you saw how much pressure was in there. I got seepage coming out of this screw here too. Here's a glance at the shift linkage in there. I'm willing to bet this is probably all rusted up and that's why it's not shifting properly. So I think I'm gonna just lube it up and try to get it moving freely because I really don't want to tear into it and have to order any parts for this thing. I'm trying to not put money in it. And the other screw that was leaking, that's the shift pivot screw, it looks like. Do not disturb. So I'm not sure why that one's leaking. The shift mechanism pivot screw should never be disturbed except during complete disassembly of the lower units. I tried snugging down that shift pivot bolt that I showed you was leaking and it's just freewheeling in there, so I ended up filling the hole with silicone after cleaning it with acetone because this is what it looks like. And so you can see those threads must just have some corrosion and then be completely stripped in the case. Here's another look at it, and all it does is go in between there. It's the pivot for that. So if you were to remove that, heck, you would definitely have to take this case apart. But unfortunately, yeah, well, we'll see if the silicone holds. .120 PSI across the board. Having trouble with these top cylinders not running right. Alex has got the new nitro out. A little test and tune on the Chrysler. This is the first long trip I've taken it on. Went about 10 miles or so. We're down here at Curtin's Wharf. The state police barracks here too, and unfortunately it seems to be running a little bit rough. I feel like it's running only 2 cylinders unless I'm maybe 2/3 throttle or more, but at idle it's not running all, it's not banging all forward. But it is shifting like butter now. Goes right into neutral and right into gear, no problem, forward and reverse. So that's huge. What do you think? She look good going down the river or what?
Yeah, trash can. Why don't I add to that a little bit?
What the? Pick that up. Come on. Dude, look at the AstroTurf though. This thing's top notch. Come on.
It is top notch.
This is its first long voyage.
This is that about the Pinto of boats right here.
Was that like 10 miles or something? 7, 10 miles?
Yeah, it didn't sink. I mean, I'm impressed.
Yeah, it ain't taking on any water. Slid the carbs off last night. Take them apart and see if there's anything. I think I found the problem. This is the upper carburetor, and the lower. And so you see this float closes right about there, so when it's not perfectly flat with the mating surface, and you see that tang is bent in a little bit, well, this float at tang is completely flat for the fuel needle, and it doesn't close until it's basically parallel. See how high that has to go before it actually closes the fuel, and this one is right there. So yeah, I think that was just, I need to bend that tang a little bit, reset the float height, and we'll be good to go. Because it was just kind of dumping fuel in when it would be idling it. Take it for a little test drive, see if tweaking those carburetors helped out at all. Hey, well, the boat seems to be running really good. Not smoking a ton and running much smoother. Like, look at these floaters out here.
What would happen if you hit one of those?
Well, that's actually a piece of foam right there. It looks like it. It's like an old seat or something. But if we hit a big log, I don't know, it wouldn't be great. Hello, how you doing?
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Getting on a dumpster or what?
Hell yeah. Floating dumpster. I got my tetanus shot, so I'm good.
I guess we should have went all backwards, huh? How was it?
It was awesome, man.
Alright, kill it. Pull lanyard out. So, you worn out or what?
Woo, yeah.
Oh man, it clipped your head a little
The
bit.
worst part was when this was up. So when I pulled myself up.
Yeah, damn,
on.
yeah, you split your head a little bit, yeah. Yeah, you're gonna have a bruise there, man. You did good though. You did great, yeah. Found this little camp spot here with some wood already stacked, even with the high waters. Usually there's nice beaches here. I think it's time to replace these tires. Get some freshies on there. These were from 08, so about 12 years old. Here we are about a month later, and I've just been enjoying the heck out of this boat. I gotta say, I haven't even been taking my Sea Ray out at all, even though that's a much nicer boat. I just love cruising around in the dumpster. I mean, when I pull up to the boat ramp in this thing too, people look at it and they're like, yeah, good luck with that thing. But you know what? She fires up every time, and she's a lot of fun to cruise. Now, before I close out on part two, a couple things I want to address. The wood I used, regular plywood. I had it just kicking around, and I'm sure a ton of people are going to tell me I should have used marine grade, and that's absolutely true, because out in the elements, this will probably only last maybe a year at best. The mold's going to attack it and just break it apart over time. But you know, it's been holding up good. The only reason I didn't go with marine grade is because I'm just trying to put $0 into this boat and just have fun with it. You can see it's starting to warp up on this corner, but that actually works out because it's like a little handle when you open up. I use that as the cooler. It's one of the live wells. A lot of people said I should detail this and buff it out, and I haven't done that because I really like the patina look of it. It looks real old school and just beat up. But you can see I've hit it with clear coat in a couple spots. Like look at this side. This is nice and shiny because that side actually looked just like this before I hit it. In fact, I'm going to show you right now. I got some clear coat, and this isn't even clear coat. It's actually just clear enamel. But well, maybe that's the same thing. I don't know. But check this out. It's like magic. Now, if you had wet sanded this first and then did this too, it would probably look incredible. So I was actually thinking for a part 3 to maybe even bring this to a boat detail guy and well, first of all, get his reaction when I pull up with this thing, but have him do, you know, a few $100s and have him do the, no, you can't even see that in that lighting, but I think you get what I'm trying to say. I'm getting off track here though. Yeah, if I brought this to a boat detail guy, he could probably get this thing looking really good, and you know, maybe if he's got a YouTube channel too, that could help out his channel. But yeah, it will look great if you shine it up. I just happen to like the beat up look. It's just kind of Mad Max, you know. And there's also been a ton of people saying that the transom's going to rip off, although you can see there's no flex in that at all, and that the stringers are rotted out and this boat's going to split in two. Well, you know, I went underneath of it with a mallet and I've been whacking around and hitting it, and I gotta say, this thing is sturdy as heck. So also when we're out on the water, it's always another boat with us. God forbid something was to happen. And of course, this thing works awesome as a stand-up jet ski hauler too. That's been amazing. I've always had a dream of having a pontoon boat to keep a jet, you know, a beat up boat that I don't care about, and that works awesome. I could slide it right off the front, get it in, and actually super jet it right back on myself. I don't have any clips of that, but it's totally doable. I know a ton of people are gonna bust my chops for throwing wood right over top of this too. You know, I'm so confident that this hull is still sturdy, and even without the stringers, I could cut this whole decking out, cut the stringers out, and I'll take this out on the river and show you guys that this thing can still handle hitting a couple logs and wave hopping. Just, you know, that transom solid, and then I might just do that for a part 3. Cut this whole thing out and put you all to silence, because this is an 80s boat. It's not, you know, 2000s. They used heavy duty fiberglass back in the early 80s, and well, the 70s in particular. Oh, and by the way, no more leaks on this stern drive. That silicone held completely fine for over a month now, and I've checked the fluid level. There's no more water in there. The shifting is like butter, so very nice. Anyway, that's the part 2, and if you guys have any cool suggestions for a part 3, let me know. I might just put this thing on Facebook Marketplace though, and of course send them all the videos so they know everything that the boat is wrong with it and what it entails. But I think it's got to be worth 1,500 bucks. I mean, look at it, nice trailer, nice motor on there. You got the Minn Kota. This thing's good to go, as you would say. So she just needs a name. I guess we'll call it a dumpster, the Bass Dumpster. All right, guys, well, if you tuned in, I appreciate it, and hopefully I see you in another video or another time. Thanks a lot.